This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, whatever time it is with you and wherever you are. Thank you for downloading this SmackDown review as part of the WWE podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to have you listening along once again. I am Amanda, your host of the SmackDown review, and a very happy new year to you all. I hope 2026 brings what you want and what you need, and we all manage to have a little bit of fun. Let's dive straight into it, guys. I've had 3 coffees and some Pro Plus. I've stretched and I am ready for the super marathon that is a 3-hour SmackDown. This one aired January 2nd from Buffalo. And first up tonight, we get a reminder of the Drew Cody situation from the last few weeks, with the focus obviously on the events of last week, Drew's crappy apology, his goading of Cody, and the 3 rings of hell stipulation. We then get to see Cody arriving, and tonight we are going to find out a bit more about the 3 stages of hell and what the matches will be. I'm hoping that we find out a bit more on the logistics of it all and how it's going to work, because I am interested to see what this is. And the show that's in Berlin, guys, is that, as far as we know, is that just a SmackDown? I don't know. I should probably find out. We then get Bliss and Flair arriving for their 8-woman tag match. Well, they're going to team with Rhea and Io. They're going to be versus Nia, Lash, Kabuki Warriors in a poor man's War Games playback. And I have to say, they all look pretty cold coming in from outside in Buffalo. So I'm guessing you guys over there have got some of the same freezing temperatures that we do over here right now. We'll also have Damian Priest arriving, who please, tonight has his last match with Aleister Black, and it's an ambulance match, so surely it must be right? Right? Must be. We've got Cole and Corey on comms, and before they can get too far into it, we get an interruption from Miz. He says we are not moving on till 2026 until he's happy. He's sick of Happy New Year. He says we can't move on until he's aired his grievances from 2025. I mean, I don't want to be the one to tell Miz, but, you know, you can't halt time. We're already there, mate. Anyway, I get his point. He says his first grievance is that he asked for Cena's last match for the sake of obligation, as there's a story that needed closure. He says he should have been the one to tap Cena out, but instead here he is stuck in Buffalo. He says grievance number 2 is that he offered his mentorship, and instead of it being grabbed and basically adored, it was ignored. He says respect is expected from everyone, not just from the rookies, but the fans too. Grievance number 3, I didn't catch, but says that Chalamet, this isn't over, so I'm thinking that's something to do with TV or movies, whatever. Grievance number 4 is against Joe Hendry. He says he went and ruined his last SmackDown of the year and also brought back an unfair and untrue nickname. This is while the crowd are chanting tiny balls at him. He says we're now on to 2026, and the silver lining is that Cena's gone and there's a new face of WWE, and it's him. He says, unlike Buffalo, he wins championships. He says he's the most decorated superstar. Goes on to list all his accomplishments. And he says that means that he is the face of WWE and he's the locker room leader. Finally, he gets interrupted, which I think we were all expecting the interruption. What we maybe weren't expecting was that it was going to be by Randy. Thank God. And Miz looks quite shook to see him, gives him a little clap as he gets into the ring. Randy gives him a good shove on his way to the corner, which is class and exactly what you would do if you were Randy. Miz carries on and talks up Randy, saying it could be Miz KO, which is awful. Let's hope that doesn't catch. And the crowd are baying for an RKO after a massive welcome for Randy. He says, absolutely nothing and just RKOs The Miz once and twice. And to be fair, Miz took it like an absolute trooper, as you would be expected. I thought this was a pretty great opening segment. Miz is annoying as hell, but he always has been, and he fits perfectly here. To bring out Randy is cool. It's brilliant to have him back, and I wonder who he's going to be feuding with. It would be nice to see Randy get a run with the title. He hasn't had one for ages, and he's so over at the moment. And I'm not talking like a Roman type run, but a couple of months with a little nod of acknowledgement for him, I think would be nice. And what of The Miz? Well, I guess he's like a super sub, isn't he? He's the one the manager can keep in the back pocket and bring on as and when there is a Miz-sized hole in the story. He can do comedy, and he's a pretty decent heel too, so bring it on. As long as he's not winning championships and taking up too much space, I think there is absolutely a use for Miz on SmackDown. So now we go backstage to the Kabuki Warriors. They're approached by Nia and Lash, who says teaming with them is difficult tonight, but as they're trying to keep on the good side of Nick Aldis, they will help them win tonight, and then they're going to owe them one, and they can give them a title shot. Asuka says they're going to be happy to give them a beating once they defend the titles on Monday Night Raw. The 8-woman tag is up next, and first out we've got the faces, specifically Rhea and Io, who get a massive reception from the Buffalo crowd. Before that, we go backstage. We're with Randy. He tells Cody that he's going to let him know out of respect that once he beats down Drew in Berlin, that Randy is coming for the title. Nick is there too. He reminds Cody that he cannot hit Drew tonight, lest he has to strip him of the title. Back to the women's match. We didn't see the entrance for Lash and Nia, so that pretty much tells you all you need to know about how WWE feel about them as a team. Although that being said, we also didn't see the full entrance of Flair and Bliss either. This one starts off as the heels storm the ring and attack the faces. We've got Asuka in with Rhea first off. Asuka is on the attack, but Rhea soon gets the upper hand with her power game. Bliss gets the tag and takes out the Kabuki Warriors on the outside, and a great match ensues. This one ends up with Rhea showing her total dominance and smashing the Kabuki Warriors. All of the faces taken to the ring to sort out the heel team one by one, and we get a bunch of finishers as Rhea delivers Riptide to Kairi. Sorry, not to Kairi. Yes. Ha! Sorry, I've got myself turned around. So, Rhea delivers Riptide to Kairi, then tags Io, who hits the over-the-moon moonsault, getting the win for Bliss, Flair, Rhea, and Io. And this was an outstanding match, I thought. As you would expect, there are 7 great wrestlers here, and also Nia Jax was in it too. But seriously, great match. In traditional terms, that might mean that the Kabukis retain on Monday, as they ate the pin tonight, but not necessarily. I do wonder if we will get Lash and Nia interference on Monday, perhaps Bliss and Flair too. So no doubt it won't be a straightforward thing. My guess is we go to some kind of fatal 4-way type tag match for the belts, and that's fine with me. These girls can put on awesome matches, so the more the merrier for me. We go backstage to Nick, and he's got Jordynne Grace with him, and he is offering her a spot on SmackDown. Before she can answer, we get a Chelsea interruption. She says she won't go out there tonight, it's freezing. Nick tells her she's interrupting and introduces Jordynne Grace. Chelsea says she is emotionally unwell after the Stranger Things ending, and she can't possibly compete. Now, I might be the only one in the world who's never watched any of the Stranger Things, so not a reference I get, but I know that pretty much everyone else has seen it. Nick tells her maybe he should strip her of the title as she isn't fit for purpose, and she strops off. So I'm guessing the defence is on anyway. Loving Chelsea's comedy work, and her one-liner about fighting for her life on the internet was brilliantly delivered. We now have Kit Welsh now, and once again, when he is announced from being from Buckinghamshire, England, I have a small kitten because that's where I'm from. He's still pushing his toxic masculinity angle, and he says he's redefining masculinity, and he finds himself in Buffalo, home of the most toxic sports fans in the whole of America. He's interrupted by Matt Cardona, or Zack Ryder, as his opening graphics said. I'm confused. Anyway, him, whoever he is out to the ring, and he's from New York, so kind of hometown, I guess. This one kicks off, and Cole lets us know that Matt Cardona is now an official part of the SmackDown roster. And Cardona absolutely owning Wilson, smashing him all over the place, and Cole telling us that Cardona has had a group of fans following him wherever he's been throughout the years. Again, another little reference to the fact that there is some kind of life outside of the WWE, which I like. So comms can't seem to make up their mind on what he's called. We had both Zach and Matt, but whatever he's called this go around, he looks pretty awesome, getting the victory over Wilson, who it seems is very much continuing with the toxic masculinity thing, which is, for me, meh. But as he is from where I'm from, let's give it the benefit of the doubt and see where we go with it. As for Zach or Matt, whoever he is, he looks great too. He gives me really strong LA Knight vibes though, and will be interesting to see who he feuds with now he is a confirmed SmackDown star. Backstage, we go to Kathy Kelly, who's got Damian Priest with her. She asks him what it's going to take to end this rivalry tonight. He says it's been 6 months, and he thinks that he can speak for everyone when he says enough is enough, and one way or another it has to end tonight. I mean, preach that. He says that for half a year, Black tried to break him and change him. He says all that's done is to wake something inside of him that even crazy Black won't understand. He says tonight he is the one who will fade to black and go to ED in the back of the ambulance. I mean, well, Priest isn't wrong, is he? Once again, please let this be over tonight. We then go to a promo from the Wyatt Six. Howdy asks Solo what the meaning of family is. He says that it's an answer he's been searching for since he was exiled from his own bloodline. Solo claims the Wyatt Six aren't a proper family, but you haven't taken the time to comprehend the force he's up against, and he mocks what he doesn't understand. He says his family isn't made up of just them, it's made up of millions of fireflies around the world who always remember. He says it's time for them to chop down the MFT family tree at the root, and he says when the dust settles, they will be the ones. So, clearly not done with the Wyatt family MFT feud, and I guess that's okay. Want to carry on over to the new year, as Solo was getting super personal with Howdy and Bray, it's only right that we get a blow-off, and hopefully Wyatt Six can properly hand the MFT's asses to them. That does still leave the question of Nikki, and who for her. I mean, there's no lady in the MFT for her to face, and time is ticking by as we leave Nikki on the not wrestling shelf. It seems a real shame because the girl really does have skills. So please, Triple H, find something good for Nikki to do. Next out, we've got Sammy, who gets his usual massive pop. He says he hasn't been around the last couple of weeks, so this feels good. He says the last time they saw him was actually at ringside when he watched Cena's last match like a fan. He says it hit him in a way he didn't expect. He says that his son asked him why they call Cena the Never Seen 17, and he explained to his kid why. He says then that his kid asked him how many times he has won it, and he had to tell his kid 0. He says his kid has been watching him in the ring every week, and to him it doesn't make sense why he hasn't won the main championship. He says he isn't here to talk about being world champion. He is here to do it this year. We then get Trick Williams out, who already seems super over with the crowd, which is pretty cool, seeing as he's only been on the main roster for about 2 minutes. He says to Sammy we haven't been properly introduced. He says he's the most entertaining and exciting person in the business. He says he's only here for one thing. He says Nick told him that he needs someone like him to come in and be world champion. And he tells Sammy they aren't alike. He says it won't take him 20 years to almost get the job done, which is ouch. Shots very much fired there from Trick. Sammy tells him that he looks great, but the problem is that he has yet to be humbled. He says he isn't the first to come out and make these claims, and he isn't the first to look down his nose at him. Sammy says he has no problem teaching him a lesson and to show him what it's like to be humbled. Well, that was a fun segment. Trick is excellent on the mic and cut a wicked promo. I was a bit concerned when Sammy started on the angry shouting promo, "I'm going to be world champion!" We had that last year and it was boring and it didn't really go anywhere. But these two feuding, yes, I am here for that. Plenty of time for Sammy to get a title shot as the year progresses. But let's see Trick and Sammy, please. We go backstage to Mello, our new US champ. Ilya tells him last week he fought the best, and he asked him if he will continue the open challenge, and he says he will, which is awesome. Mello runs into Miz, and I actually thought we were getting a genuine Mello saying thank you to Miz for his, mentorship and help, but actually he says thank you for finally leaving him alone. He's been much better off since he did, which is just brilliant, and you can see it sending Miz totally round the bend. Love it. I'm so pleased that the Open Challenge is continuing, and we go straight in to Mello's first defence, and we have a Johnny Gargano versus Mello match. And this one kicks off with Johnny coming out very aggressively, but Mello quickly gets his shit together and mounts a comeback. Candice thwarts Mello flying out of the ring and polaxing Johnny. This one winds up fairly quickly. It was quite a quick match with Mello hitting the first 48, follows up with nothing but net and gets the win over Johnny in what was a good match. Pleased that Mello retains. Obviously, I think this will be another good reign. I'm loving what WWE are doing with the US Championship and how they are just continually getting all these people who would traditionally be the mid-carders over. We go backstage where we've got Tama Tonga watching the match. Remember, he's been angling for a title shot the past couple of champs we've had. He clearly doesn't understand the concept of an open challenge, but anyway, he's lingering, and I fear if he gets the belt, the open challenge will end. It's not really a heel gimmick, is it? So I hope it doesn't happen for a while anyway. He's confronted by Shinsuke, who talks to him in Japanese, and Tama responds in Japanese. Don't understand what was said there, but clearly some ag. Solo asks what the problem is, and Tonga says that's an old chapter and nothing to worry about. Solo says he's spoken to Nick, and next week they're going to have a 4-on-4 match with the Wyatts, then they'll take back the titles. On the way out, Tama Tonga has another little look over his shoulder towards Shinsuke. I have no idea what the history is between them or what was said, but you can colour me officially intrigued. I am here for that. We now get Jade backstage with Kathy, who asks her about the injury to Michin and asks her if it was deliberate from Jade. Jade says it was, and that's what happens when these pigeons don't know their place. She says, speaking of pigeons, and Jordan Grace is there, who says that she needs to decide who to sign for and she wants to have a good look at her options. Jade says that she suggests Jordan looks elsewhere, as this is her show and she's that bitch. Jordan says, well, I'm Jordan Grace, but you are definitely one of those. Okay, I want this. Get Jordan signed to SmackDown. We need her. We want her. Get it done. Get Jordan on SmackDown. Do we know if the Michin injury is real or a work? I don't know. I'm going to Google that and find out. Cody now backstage. He has a face-to-face with Sammy. Cody says he heard him out there, and it's good that everyone is being so honest tonight. Sammy tells Cody he respects him, and he thinks the world of him, but he must understand where he's coming from. Nick comes along, and Cody says he's heading to the ring. Now, just before we move on, Sammy, I don't think Cody is going to be losing any sleep over facing Sammy. Anyway. We've got Cody in the ring now. He says, how does one get hold of one of the most prestigious belts in WWE? He says he isn't the strongest, fastest, fittest, or smartest. He says it's his mentality when facing anyone in the ring. He says he gets there early because he wants people to see him seeing them. And he says Drew reeks of envy and Cody is grateful for it. He can't wait for the fight. He says in the spirit of the arena, which is incredibly important to him. He wants to tell the truth. He says when he smiles and plays dumb, even for the unreal cameras, he says they're playing checkers and he's playing chess because no one asks him what he sees. And he says whether they're friends or foes, it doesn't matter. He says when he sees Drew, he sees a lunch. He says this era of WWE is the one who calls himself champ, and that doesn't change in Berlin. So this was back to a pretty generic Cody promo. Nothing really that much wrong with it, but we did move on to a slightly nastier Cody in recent weeks, which was a bit more interesting. This is a bit more snoresome, but there we go. Drew then comes on the big screen and calls him predictable. He says in a world of grey that Cody is as vanilla as it gets. He says the 3 stages of hell will be, first, a real wrestling match. The second will be a Falls Count Anywhere. And the third will be a steel cage match. He says now they will have, everyone will have a lesson in self-control. He says he wanted the conversation to be on the Cody Express, but Cody wasn't there, so he let himself in. He had a mooch around and he took an item, and that's a photo of Cody and his dad. Drew says that he wishes Dusty was still here today to see the man Cody has become, but he knows he will be wherever he is, looking up, seeing it all. He says some people have said it will be a cold day in hell before Drew is champion again, and that he hopes Dusty has got a coat down there because it's about to get chilly, and he smashes the photo. This prompts Cody, obviously, to leave the ring and go after Drew, but security and Nick are in the way. Drew then appears in the ring where he has a bin and the photo of him and Dusty. And to be honest, it's all gone a bit Keystone Cops or Benny Hill, with the security guards running around trying to stop Cody hitting Drew as he burns the photo of Cody and Dusty in front of him. Now, just a thing. I get that Drew is goading Cody into hitting him in order that Cody is stripped of the belt, but if he is, the title won't just be awarded to Drew. Surely there will be another long-ass tournament, and the chances of Drew winning that are massively reduced, as there would be huge names in for that. I'm thinking Randy, Sammy, everyone else who's spoken tonight, the MFTs, etc., etc. So it doesn't really make any sense. Surely he stands a better chance with Cody one-on-one in his own stipulations in a match that he got to make up himself next week, which, by the way, I still think Cody definitely retains. I cannot see Drew taking the title into Mania. So the 3 stages of Hell match are now set. We've got a normal match, Falls Count Anywhere. So I think we know it's going to be 1-1 as we go into a decider, which will be the steel cage match. Next up here, we have got Chelsea and her title defence against Julia, and it's Julia who starts off very aggressively ragdolling Chelsea around the outside of the ring area. Alba provides a distraction, allowing Chelsea to blindside Julia, taking her out, and Chelsea gets a solid pin to the count of about 100 on Julia, but Kiana is up on the apron and has the ref distracted, and Alba, better late than never, finally takes out Kiana, but too little, too late. This one ends as Julia hits the Northern Lights bomb and gets the victory, and we have a new US champ. I'm not happy. I wanted to see Chelsea with a nice long run. I don't like hot potato in with belts like this. Just hope they do better with her run this time. I want to have faith that they will, but nothing has changed. Everything is exactly the same. I say again, let's have a Women's US Open Championship Challenge. It's done so great on the men's side. Let's just have a go at it. We get a backstage segment. Io and Rhea say they can't wait to get their hands on the Kabuki Warriors on Monday and be champions together. Flair and Bliss tell them that for experience, they know the Kabuki Warriors can be a little snicky and wish them good luck. Bit weird, but I do think that Flair and Bliss will come to the aid of Rhea and Io, possibly help them with the numbers game. I hope so anyway. I definitely am not ready for Flair and Bliss to break up yet, so I hope that's not on the cards anytime soon. We now go to our main event after another lengthy recap on the history of these two, as if anyone needed that, but let's remember we are trying to fill 3 hours. So the main event, Aleister Black versus Damian Priest in an ambulance match. Cole says the first time on SmackDown and only the 7th in WWE history, which is pretty cool, although I find it very hard to believe that there weren't more of these in the Attitude Era. If anything shrieks Attitude Era, to me, it's an ambulance match. Anyway, this one starts quick as Black attacks Priest before he finishes his ring entrance, but luckily Priest manages to get his massive coat off, and this one is on. Black, somewhat optimistically, taking Priest straight to the ambulance and opens the doors, but there's no hope of that. The timestamp on Netflix still says we've got a solid 25 minutes left of this match. But we do get the contents of the ambulance all out, particularly the stretcher on wheels, which Priest uses to flatten Black. We get a near finish some way in as it looks all over. Black puts Priest in the ambulance and almost has the door closed, but Priest fights back and exits just in time. We are getting pretty close to the end of this match, and we've got Priest taking Black up to the top of the ambulance, and he looks for South of Heaven from the top. It didn't come off, I'm sure, completely as they planned. It basically looked like more of a shove. There was no elevation from Priest on South of Heaven, but I think that's what they were going for. Anyway, off the top of the ambulance through some well-positioned tables, which I'm sure had significant padding underneath, as that would have been out onto the concrete floor of the arena and probably would have shattered every single bone in Aleister Black's body had it just been straight down onto the floor. Corey says, skip the hospital, call the morgue, which is the line of the night for me. That finishes Black off, though, as he goes into the back of the ambulance and Priest shuts the doors. Weirdly, he'd opened the side door as well. So when he threw him in the back, he then had to walk round to the side to shut the side door before he could shut both the back doors. And I'm not sure if that was just to keep the suspense going or whether that was just a bit of a, cock up. Anyway, let's give it its dues. That was an awesome match. Hopefully what is now the finish to end this feud once and for all. We can't go any further with it, surely. An ambulance match is the end of the end. So I really do hope that's that. I really, really want to see Priest go on to have some kind of title run. I wouldn't hate seeing him getting involved in the US title open challenge, or even, getting himself positioned somehow into the world title. Either way, I would love to see Priest on a title run. As for Black and Zelina, well, I'm not sure. I don't know what happens with them now. Zelina, I guess, will continue to reinvent herself as she always has done throughout her career in WWE. She's gone from manager to heel to face to heel to face to that weird random gimmick she did when she won Queen of the Ring and started talking with a very ropey English accent. So Zelina will be fine. Black, I want to see more from him because this guy's got phenomenal amounts of in-ring talent, and what he can do in a match is really superb, but we need him to feud with someone different. We don't need necessarily a long-running feud. Let him go on a tear through the roster or something, but he needs a good storyline. And talking of storylines, I think we've got another season of Unreal coming up, which I still can't make up my mind whether it's just a whole nother angle of work against us, poor marks as fans, or whether it is genuinely a peek behind the curtain. But either way, it's a good bit of frivolous entertainment, which will help ease the blow of January when we're all skint and cold and fat. I mean, that's just me. Okay, so we made it through the whole 3 hours. It was a bit of a marathon, but actually the show was decent. Plenty of advancement in stories. Excited that we might get Jordan Grace on SmackDown. I really, really hope that happens. And we move on to the anniversary Raw, which looks like it should be a decent show. And don't know about any returns, any significant title changes there. I want to see, obviously, Punk retain. I'd like to see some development with the tag titles on the women's side. As I said, probably heading for a fatal 4-way type thing. But either way, it's looking good as we move into the new year. The 3-hour show, there was a bit of fluff and a bit of fill, but actually there was also quite a lot of wrestling as well, which, as it's a wrestling show, is a good thing. So we go on to Berlin, and let's see what happens there with what seems just to be Cody and Drew on the card, which is interesting. So that just about does it for this week's show. As always, thank you for having me in your ears again, and remember, until next time, be kind.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.